In our last session, we learned how to make a print plate and glue yarn down over our flower to create our print plate that looked like this. Today we're going to learn about printing and how to do it in a couple of vocabulary words. This is a print of my print plate that looked like this. You can kind of see how they're a reverse image. This one is pointing that direction and this one's pointing that direction. So the prints we're making today are called relief prints because they're standing up off the print plate, so it's a relief print. And relief prints are always backwards. Whatever this image is, when you print it, it turns out backwards. Okay, so I'm going to set my print plate aside for the moment and talk about some other things. Down here on the bottom we have what's called our addition number, not like addition like 1 + 1 = 2, but edition with an E, and that means which group of prints or artworks is called an edition. Kind of like when you have a book with a printing of a book, it's called the first edition book. Okay, what you need to write down here is you have a title that you can make up. I entitled mine Flower, and then you have 3 prints that you're going to make. You're going to make 3 different pictures. And for the first one, you write 1/3, like 1/3, because you're only a third done. Then you're going to sign your name over here. My name's Mr. Lundgren, so I put Mr. Lundgren there. The second one I did looked like this. And you can say, see, I have the same title, Flower, 2/3, 2/3, because now I'm 2/3 of the way done, and Mr. Lundgren. And my third one, Flower, 3/3, so I'm 3/3 done. I'm whole all the way done. And there again is my Mr. Lundgren signature. So I've got all those 3 edition numbers and prints of my spring flower print plate that we made last time. So what you're going to do is you're going to get 3 pieces of paper, and you're going to start by entitling yours. I'm going to call mine Daffodil, because that's what kind of flower it is. Daffodil. And I'm going to put 1/3, and then I'm going to put my name, Mr. Lundgren. I'm going to set it aside and do the next one. Daffodil, 2/3, Mr. Lundgren. And then my last one, Daffodil, 3/3, Mr. Lundgren. So I have my 3 papers that I'm going to print on. Okay, I'm going to keep these right next to me so I have them at hand when I want to start my printing. And by the way, Mr. Lundgren, these are 5x7 pieces of paper. Okay, just like our print plate. Well, this is a little bit bigger than 5x7. So what you're going to do now is you're going to have to color your print plate. So what you're going to do is you can choose any colors. I would suggest realistic light colors, and you're going to paint them onto your flower. So I'm going to take some green for my stem, and I'm going to take some yellow for my flower, and I'm going to take a little bit of orange for my flower as well, because daffodils sometimes have a little orange in them. So what I'm going to do is you should have a regular red watercolor 08 paintbrush. You should have a little water cup to wash out your brush if you need it, a little paper towel to blot your brush on if you need to, and at the table you should have a cup for dirty water, a cup with clean water in it, so you can change those out as you go. Then you're going to take your paintbrush and you're simply going to get the pure paint. We don't need to do any paint mixing. If you want to mix paint, you can, but you don't have to. And what you're going to do is you're just going to kind of gently not dribble, but kind of lay the paint. You don't need to paint back and forth like we would with a paintbrush, when we're doing watercolor or something, or tempera paint. You're just going to lay it on top of the yarn. You don't want to smear it back and forth, and you want to try your best not to get it on the print plate. Okay? You just want a little bit on there. You don't need a whole lot, but you don't want it to be so little that it doesn't make a print either. So it's kind of a delicate balance between having enough on but not too much at the same time. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going pretty fast. I'm just kind of laying the paint on top. I'm not scrubbing back and forth like I'm painting. I'm just kind of laying it on top. And if you need to turn your print plate or move around to get this done correctly, that's fine, whatever you need to do it nicely. Okay, and again, try not to dribble on your print plate, even though I just got a little bit off there. Eventually, you know, your print plate is going to get kind of dirty and painty, and that's kind of just the nature of the beast. But try to keep it as clean as you can. Okay, because I realized that after making 3 of these, they're going to get kind of icky and painty. Okay. So I'm just going to finish this off. Mr. Linger, you can probably fast forward until I'm done with the painting part, and then play it again for the printing. Okay, so now that you have the final thing painted here, what you're going to do is you're going to pick your print plate up and you're going to set your first paper down. It should say 1 out of 3 on it. And you want that to be nicely in front of you. And actually, you're going to do it the opposite way, sorry. You're going to leave this on the table. And then you're going to take your paper and you're going to flip it over and you're going to kind of line your cardboard up with the top of the paper. And then you're going to lay it down on top. Try to keep it as even and square as possible. Once you get to this point, you're just going to take your hand and you're going to kind of hold one side of the paper down and you're just going to squish like that once, and then squish from the top to the bottom like that. Then you just do 2. 1 squish down, 1 squish up, and then you take the paper and hold it down and peel it up, and you'll get a print of your picture. So there's a print of my daffodil. Notice how it's backwards, just like I said, and notice how the yarn kind of held the paint and squished it out. Okay, and this is what our first print should look like. It should be nice and clean, well done, and then you're going to do 2 more prints after that. This print, when you're done with it, you're going to take it, put it in the drying rack, and then you'll follow the same procedure for your second and your third print. You should be able to get all 3 done in one session. Now, some little pointers here. When you squish it down onto your print, you can only set it down once. If you set it down and then lift it up and set it down and lift it up and set it down and lift it up, it's going to look really weird and really sloppy, and you're just going to have to throw that one out and start over. Okay, so as we work through, I'll show you the 2 other ones and fast forward, but this is how you make a print with the yarn printing process.